Strange Talk with Doc. Happy New Year's, by the way. Let's get into the wrap up show of 2023. We're going to talk the biggest news stories, sports stories, the music, television, RIPs. If I have an opinion to give, I will give. If not, I'm going to read the story as it goes. Because what happens is we live the year, we forget about a lot of the key moments of the year, but that's what I'm here to do. You don't have to read it, you can hear it in a story form. And I am going to be your storyteller. So we start off with Jackson, Mississippi had frigid weather back in December of 2022, and they had a water scare. Mississippi with another water scare. The U.S. House Committee asked for Trump's tax records for 6 years. Mega Millions had started off 2023 with a $783 million jackpot that went up to 1.35 million, which was eventually won in the state of Maine. The suspect killer, Brian Kellenberger, age 28, was arrested and charged with first degree murder of the four Idaho students. And that happened on November 11th, 2022, but he wasn't arrested till 12:30. 1-3, Missouri inmate Amber McLaughlin, age 49, was executed by lethal injection for the 2003 killings and is believed to be the first transgender prisoner ever executed in America. On 1-3, the Prophet of Doom, Frank James, 63 years old, pleaded guilty to the subway shootings in Brooklyn that wounded 10 passengers, and he will spend the rest of his life in a federal penitentiary. On 1-4, Walmart, which also owns Dwayne Reed and CVS, said they plan to dispense the abortion pills in state where abortion is legal. On 1-7, Republican Kevin McCarthy was elected the House Speaker in a historic post midnight ballot. That was a whole mess. You have to look that up yourself. On 1-7, also, Congressman George Santos of Queens demanded people in Queens demanded he resigned after it was found out that his resume was fake. He lied about his 9/11 mother being a victim and made white power peace symbols during inauguration. On 1/11, Illinois became the latest U.S. state to ban assault weapons. 9 states, as well as D.C., already prohibit the sale and possession of assault weapons. On 1/11, FAA computer outage. All flights across America grounded, leaving tens of thousands of passengers stranded. This went on for quite a while. On 119, T-Mobile said their data was stolen and 37 million customers potentially had their information stolen by hackers. We had a Who Can Tan. He killed 10 people and wounded another 10 at a Los Angeles area ballroom dance club following the Lunar New Year celebration, setting off a manhunt for the suspect in another mass shooting. Tran eventually killed himself the following day. Mississippi Memphis Police Department officers to Darius Bean, Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin III, Damon Mills Jr., and Justin Smith are actually killed Tyrese Nichols, a 29-year-old black man. He died 3 days later after a traffic stop. The 5 officers involved in this January 7th altercation have now all been arrested and face charges of second-degree murder, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated assault, official misconduct, and official oppression. The 7 officers were fired. Also, EMT Robert Long and Jermichael Sandridge and fire engine driver Lieutenant Michelle Whitaker were also fired for failing to provide Tyrese Nichols with adequate patient assessment. Promise of mass layoffs and downsizing. Dell over 6,600. FedEx 10% of their employees. PayPal over 2,000. Goldman Sachs over 3,000. Philips over 6,000. Man, Lambs Research Corporation 1,300. Vasara 1,300. Best Buy and Goodyear Tire both over 500. Dow Chemical over 2,000. Amazon 18,000. Hasbro 15% of their global employees. SAP 2,800. IBM 3,900. 3M 2,500, which is also Google. 12,000 Microsoft. 12,000 Senior Bridge Home Care slash Humana. 1,200 Morgan Stanley. 1,600 DoorDash. 1,200 H&M. 1,500 people Disney, uh, which they plan to raise up to 7,000. Yahoo is set to lay off more than 20% of their staff. The death toll on 2/6 rose to over 36,000 plus people from earthquakes and aftershocks in Turkey and Syria, with another 80,000 plus assumed injured. There was a shooting at Michigan State University, killing three people and then wounding five more by Anthony McRae, and then he fatally shot himself. Peyton Guron, the Buffalo mass shooter, was sentenced to life without parole on 2/12. 2/24 marked the second anniversary of Putin's invasion into the Ukraine. Uh, Newspaper comic strip on 2/25, Dilbert got canceled after its creator was branded racist for wanting white people to get the F away from black people. This man, Scott Adams, called black people a hate group. He also identifies himself as a black man, even though he is white. Now, let me restate that. Scott Adams called black people a hate group. He also identified himself as a black man, even though he is a white male. We found out there are thousands of nurses who have obtained fake diplomas and provided care without proper treatment in the United States of America. On 2/28, Chicago Mayor Laura Lightfoot was ousted. She is the first elected Chicago mayor to lose a re-election since 1983. East Palestine, Ohio had a derailment of a train that was carrying hazardous materials. Tyson Foods shut down two U.S. chicken plants. It cost 1,700 workers their job. Biden signed on 3/14 a gun executive control order. The Hague said that they would issue an arrest warrant for Russian President Vladimir Putin for war crimes. Nothing has become of that. Over 30,000 school support workers, custodians, cafeteria workers, bus drivers staged a walkout in LA in solidarity with the teachers union. They eventually came to a deal 3 days after the shutdown because they had to get the schools back up and running. There was deadly tornadoes in Mississippi on 3/25. Uh, Audrey Hale killed three children and three adults before being shot dead by the police as she shot up a elementary school in Nashville. On 3/30, the grand jury indicted Donald Trump in New York, the first time a former president is charged criminally with anything in America. On 4/4, Donald Trump was arrested and arraigned on 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree, the first U.S. president to ever face criminal charges. Trump naturally pleaded not guilty, and this case is ongoing as we speak today. On 4/6, Tennessee GOP expelled two black Democratic lawmakers for anti gun violence protests. This was a big deal. On 4/10, these young men, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, was reinstated to the Tennessee House of Representatives. Connor Surgeon killed five people and wounded eight others at the Old National Bank in Louisville, Kentucky. 28 people were injured and four were murdered in a Daysville, Alabama Sweet 16 birthday party. On 4/20, the House passed a trans athlete ban for girls and women's teams. On 4/24, Tucker Carlson left Fox News and Don Lemon was fired by CNN. On 4/29, Fort Lee became Fort Gregg Adams, one of nine Army installations that will be renamed in 2023. 5/2, former Minneapolis police officer Tao Tay was found guilty of aiding and abetting secondary manslaughter in the killing of George Floyd. Uh, on 5/2, ex-raider Henry Ruggs III pleaded guilty to his involvement in a deadly crash, and as a result of a DWI and misdemeanor manslaughter, and he will spend 3 to 10 years in prison. Sex offender Jesse McFadden shot six others before killing himself. Dion Patterson is suspected of killing one person and wounding four, all of them women, in a shooting on Wednesday at a medical building in Atlanta. That was a very bad day. There was three mass shootings on 5/3. 5/8, King Charles III was coronated. 5/9, the New York jury finds Donald Trump guilty of sexual abuse. 5/9 also, George Santos was charged by federal prosecutors in New York. 5/10, George Santos was arrested for those federal criminal charges. 5/31, actor Danny Matheson found guilty of raping two women. There was a horrific three-way crane crash in India where at least 280 people died. There was also another high school shooting in Richmond, Virginia, where two were killed and five was injured. There was the Canadian wildfires of 2023. And on 6/8, Donald Trump was indicted on seven charges in classified document probe, and Trump faces 37 criminal counts in this classified document case. Trump then pleaded not guilty in federal court indictment on 6/13. 6/18, the Ocean Gate sub was found. No parties were found alive, naturally. July 4th, 32,000 flights was disrupted across the country. On 6/29, the Supreme Court rejected affirmative action in ruling on universities using race in admissions by a vote of 6-3. The Supreme Court decided using race as a factor in college admissions violates the Constitution 14th Amendment. 14th Amendment. There was more mass shootings in Baltimore, two dead and 30 shot. Meta launched a Twitter rival called Threads. I don't even know if anybody ever uses Threads. I have never even really know. I don't even know what Threads is and why Meta, which is slash Facebook, did this. We set a new record for the deadliest 6 months of mass shooting from January 3rd to June 30th. The nation had 28 mass shootings. Arrest was made on 7/13 in the Gilgo Beach serial killings That's in Long Island, New York. Suffolk County officials identified the suspect as Rex Hegerman, a 59-year-old architect from Matisse, Massapequa Park. 717, the Powerball jackpot grew to $1 billion. They eventually sold a winning ticket for $1.8 billion in LA. Elon Musk rebranded Twitter as X. We still all call it Twitter, right? 728, mega jackpot went up to $1.2 billion after months of no one claiming a big price. This ticket was eventually sold in Florida and it reached $1.58 billion. President Trump had his third indictment of 2023. He was charged with connection with his efforts to overthrow the 2020 election vote. This was in Georgia. 8-8, Tao Teo, the disgraced former Minneapolis police officer, was actually sentenced in the George Floyd killings to 4 years and 9 months. Maui had wildfires. 114 people was at least dead. 1,300 people went missing. On 8/14, Donald Trump was indicted on RICO charges by the Georgia grand jury. Uh, he had 18 co-defendants, Rudy Giuliani being one of them, and Trump is now facing 91 criminal charges and four criminal cases. 819, we had Hurricane Hillary. August brought heat waves to America. On 824, Trump turned himself in for arrest in the Atlanta Fulton County Jail. The federal election interference trial for Trump is set for 3/4/2024. The Proud Boys were sentenced to prison for their roles in the U.S. Capitol attack. Delano Cavalcante, 34. This dude was on a big time manhunt. He was finally arrested on 9/13 after a 2-week manhunt. In September, MGM Resorts suffered $52 million in losses due to a cyber attack. It was a social engineering scam. 9/25, the Guild of America, Writers Guild of America, reached a tentative agreement after a 4-month strike. 9/28, New York had a horrific historic storm. On 9/20, the government averted shutdown for the first time as Biden signed a funding bill, right before midnight. On 10/2, Powerball reached $1.5 billion. On 10/11, $1.7 billion Powerball jackpot was uh, actually won in California. Again, uh, a judge ruled that Donald Trump defrauded banks, insurers while building his real estate empire. Trump and his company deceived banks, insurers, and others by massively overvaluing his assets and exaggerating his net worth. Uh, and Donald Trump attended the start of his New York civil trial that started on 10/2/2023. This trial should be coming to a close by, I'm thinking, mid-January at the latest, because if I'm not mistaken, he is called his last defense witness, and we'll see how that goes. On 10/3, history was made on Capitol Hill after Kevin McCarthy, the same guy who was voted in earlier the year, was ousted as the Speaker of the House, making it the first time ever the House lawmakers voted to oust the Speaker. 10/8, Israel declared war on Hamas after the surprise attack by Hamas in the Gaza Strip. You had several people in the Trump Georgia case take guilty pleas. Sidney Powell, Kenneth Chesebro, and his former campaign lawyer, Jenna Elman, and Mark Meadows, they all were granted immunity to testify. On 10/25, Robert Card killed at least 18 people in a mass shooting across multiple locations in Lewiston, Maine. It was one of the deadliest shootings this year, and up to this point, 10/25, there were more than 500 recorded mass shootings in America alone. Robert Card did wind up being found dead. On 10/25, a pilot riding in the extra seat of a cockpit of Horizon Air passenger jet tried to shut down the engines and had to be subdued by two pilots. Joseph David Emerson, 44, has now been charged with 83 counts of attempt murder. Mike Johnson on 10/26, a conservative from Louisiana, was elected the House Speaker. GOP broadly supported him. 11:10, FBI agents stopped New York Mayor Eric Adams in the middle of the street and seized his phones, his iPads after a raid on his chief financial fundraiser homes over bribe. There was a tentative truce, 4-day truce in the Israel Hamas war, where dozens of Gaza hostages were released. 11:25, more former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was stabbed 22 times in attempt murder by a John Chirsak. On 12/1, George Santos was expelled from Congress in a historic vote, 311 to 114, with 206 Democrats and 105 voting in favor. 2023, I was introduced to Geno Jennings, not in person, but as a internet sensation preacher. I will keep my feelings about Mr. Jennings to myself, but he is a part of the lexicon of America, and I didn't think I could mention 2023 without mentioning him. A gunman killed three people at the University of Las Vegas, Nevada. 67-year-old Anthony Pearl, a college professor, shot down three co workers. On 12/19, the Colorado Supreme Court removed former President Donald Trump from the 2024 ballot, ruling that he is ineligible presidential candidate because of the 14th Amendment insurrection ban. On December 15th, a jury awarded $148 million in damages to two former Georgia election workers who sued Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani on 12/21 then filed for bankruptcy after, you know, that's Rudy Giuliani. What you gonna do? Promised. This is something promised in the future. The client list of Jeffrey Epstein will be released on New Year's Day of 2024. And also on 12/28, Maine became the second state to bar Trump from the 2024 primary ballot. We have to see how that turns out in Colorado and in Maine. Let's see if the Supreme Court will allow these things to go through. And that's basically your news. It's not a lot of good news because the world doesn't give you a lot of good news, but it is the news as I've seen it. And these are some of the biggest stories, if not the biggest stories of all of 2023. Now, I must state that I didn't go through each and everything, and I cannot go through each and everything because it would take me too long. But I have a website, and on my website, everything is listed in the order and date in which it happened. And if you want to go there and read it for yourself, if some of these stories will be more detailed, I just gave a brief synopsis. You can go there, check it out, tell me how you like, if you do or you do not like the way that I put stuff up, and maybe for 2024 I can change it, but uh, it's up there. like I said, you could always go back and check any of my old shows on my website. A link to my website will be anywhere that you hear this show. If you search down just a little below my description, my website is listed. So let's talk about some TV and movies that I thought were the best of the year. Criminal Minds came back with a show called Evaluations. I thought it was pretty good. Abbott Elementary was fantastic. This was some of the best year of Raw and SmackDown in God knows how long. You had Hard Knocks. This is the NFL show. The Arizona Cardinals was on there. All three Law and Orders was good. SVU, Organized Crime, and the OG. Uh, Black Mafia Family was good. SWAT was good. They brought that back. They had canceled it and decided to bring it back. The Young Rock last season was its last season. Family Guy is Family Guy. The Godfather of Harlem, I don't know where this sits right now in flux. They changed out the Malcolm X character, which I didn't appreciate, but the show still remains solid. I watched a documentary called Peer Kids that was very good. A new show that came out called Will Trent was very good. Saturday Night Live season 48 was good. The Royal Rumble, Good Doctor. Wu Tang and American Saga finished off their storyline. It was very good. The WWE Elimination Chamber was good. The Blacklist had their final season. Bill Russell had a documentary. Luther, the British show with what's this brother's name? You know him. Well, he's Luther. There's called The Falling Sun. That was very good. WWE Legends on Biography was a good one. WrestleMania 39 was good. The Making of the Mob, Killer Sally, Dear Mama, The Saga of Afeni and Tupac Shakur, Giuliani, What Happens to America's Mayor, WWE Backlash, Master Chef, McC- McGregor for Life, The Foods That Built America, Love to Love You, Donna Summers documentary, WWE Night of Champions, The Dark Side of the Ring Season 4, being Mary Tyler Moore, Rita Moreno, just a girl who decided to go for it. There was a Hector Camacho documentary, The Ultimate Fighter Season 31, TLC Forever. Arnold had a documentary. Bill Walton had a documentary. Reggie Jackson had a documentary. The Eric Andre Show returned for season 6. Black Mirror returned for season 6. The Bear season 2 was good. Ghost was good. Stan Lee had a documentary. The Stroll, which was about transgender prostitutes, that was good. Neil in the Coffin, The Rise and Fall of Vampiro, Money in the Bank 2023, documentary called Quarterback, uh, Goliath, Will Chamberlain story, Golden Boy, very good. Hard Knocks had the Jets. I shouldn't have this on the list. I really did not enjoy that. So I apologize for even bringing it up. Steph Curry had a documentary called Underrated. My Way, The Life and Legacy of Pat Patterson, How to Become a Cult Leader, Heal Season 2. The Shy had their final season 6, very good. How to Become a Tyrant, American Nightmare, Becoming Cody Rose, Untold, Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel story. Then there was God Family Football, Little Richard, I Am Everything, BS High, a documentary called Wrestlers. Top Boy had their final season. The Irrational was a new show that's very good. 72 Seconds in Rittenhouse Square was very good. For Family Guy came back for season 22. New TV show called Found, documentary on Millie Vanilli, Get Gotti, Robbie Williams, Hatton, Sylvester Stallone. The Choice Is Yours, which is about Black Sheep. Hard Knocks End Season, which is ongoing right now about the Miami Dolphins. Bye Bye Barry, Truth and Lies, The Last Gangster, Sammy Gravano. Dashing Through the Snow was a very good Christmas movie. Cypher, about a rapper from Philadelphia. WWE Survivor Series War Games was very good. John Lennon, Murder Without a Trial. South Park, Not Suitable for Children slash Cred. And Dave Chappelle, The Dreamer, which was just released, I believe, on New Year's Eve of 2023. Very good. Eldest Iber was the young man I could not remember from Luther. He is the star of the movie and TV show Luther from BBC. Music: Nas, King Disease 3, Depeche Mode, Memento Mori, Peter Gabriel, I.O., Uja Banton, Born for Greatness, and Nicki Minaj, Pink, Friday 2. Those what I consider the very best albums of the year. I went back to listen to a lot of old school 90s grunge, post grunge, pre grunge music this year. I didn't find a lot of the stuff that was released in 2023 to be very good. So I said, why suffer through that? Go back to some classics that I know. I actually even did a show on grunge, post grunge, pre grunge, not too far back. If you want to go back and check that out, you can go there. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducted Kate Bush, Sheryl Crow, Missy Elliott, George Michaels, Willie Nelson, Rage Against the Machine, The Spinners, along with DJ Kool Herc, Link Ray, Chaka Khan, Al Cooper, Bernie Taupin, as well as Don Cornelius. Now let's get to sports. The sports. Uh, Georgia Bulldogs crushed TCU 65-7 to win their second national title. Uh, this was the year of Damar Hamlin. On 1-2, Damar Hamlin was in critical condition in University of Cincinnati after he collapsed on the field during a Monday night game between Cincinnati Bengals and the Buffalo Bills. He was given CPR on the field. They had to suspend the game. They had to put a breathing tube in him overnight. He spent the morning, but the next day he was up and he was doing FaceTime and he addressed the team during a meeting. On 1-5, the NFL announced that Bills and Bengals game would not be resumed. Donovan Mitchell became the seventh player in NBA history to score 70 points in a game when he scored 71 points in a team his Cleveland Cavaliers won. Vince McMahon, I don't even understand this. He came back, that he is officially back on the board of directors with the WWE. So he was reinstated with the WWE. We don't see him on TV much, but he's back. 1-6, the Los Angeles Dodgers designated their right-handed pitcher Trevor Burger for assignment. He was involved with some domestic violence, child abuse, and sexual assault stuff. Naomi Osaka withdrew from the U.S. Open. Patrick Mahomes had set the NFL record for the most single season offensive yards with 5,614 yards. That was 5,250 passing, 358 rushing, 6 receiving. Three-time Defensive Player of the Year, J.J. Watts, retired. The Cardinals fired head coach Cliff Kingsbury. Now, on 111, Stephanie McMahon resigned when Vince McMahon returned, which was crazy. The Golden State Warriors and the Spurs set a single game NBA attendance record when they played in front of 68,323 people. And the Golden State Warriors unfortunately won that game 144-113. John Bones Jones signed an eight fight deal with the UFC. Francis Ngannou was stripped of his UFC title, and he moved on. Uh, Vince McMahon had to reach a settlement with a former female referee, Rita Charlton. Okay, Gloria Teixeira announced that he was retiring. Marcus, Mauricio Shogun, who also retired. The Hall of Famers for the UFC was Jose Aldo Jr., Jens Palmer. Uh, Let me see. Frank Rice was hired as the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers. The Broncos agreed to terms to bring Sean Payton over as their new head coach. DeMarco Ryans became the new head coach of the Houston Texans. Tom Brady officially retired and did not play this season, so it is real. Coach Autumn Lockwood became the fourth woman to coach in the Super Bowl and the first black woman to also do so. On 225, the Nets traded Kyrie Irving to the Mavericks. AJ Green retired from the NFL after 12 seasons. On 2-7, LeBron James passed Kareem Abdul Jabbar as the all time scoring leader with 38,388 points and counting. There was some big NBA trades to mark D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt was traded, and Russell Westbrook was also moved out in that trade. Kevin Durant was traded to the Suns. Patrick Mahomes won your MVP award for the Kansas City Chiefs. Brian Dable won your Coach of the Year. Geno Smith won the Comeback Player of the Year. The Offensive Player of the Year was Justin Jefferson. The Defensive Player of the Year was Nick Bosa. The Rookie of the Year in offense was Garrett Wilson of the Jets. Defensive Player of the Year was Sauce Gardner of the Jets. The Walter Payton Man of the Year was Dak Prescott of the Cowboys. The air and ground players of the year was Joe Barrow and Josh Jacobs of the Raiders. Your Hall of Fame class for the NFL was Rondé Barber, Darrell Revis, Joe Thomas, Zach Thomas, DeMarcus Ware, Don Coryell, Chuck Holly, Joe Klecko, and Ken Riley. The New Mexico State basketball team indefinitely suspended their program over hazing incidents. A high school basketball game in Weatherford, Oklahoma ended in a score of 4-2. I said that right, 4-2. The Super Bowl, the Chiefs beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl 38-35. This was the Chiefs' second Super Bowl win in 4 years, and two-time NFL MVP Patrick Mahomes won his second Super Bowl MVP. This was the first Super Bowl ever to feature two black starting quarterbacks. Raiders released Derek Carr. The XFL started their second season. Alvin Kamara uh, received a slap on the wrist and moved on from his Las Vegas nightclub alleged assault. The 3-point champion in the NBA was Damon Lillard. The skills champion, no, yes, the skills champion was the Utah Jazz. This guy, Mac McClure, won the AT&T Slam Dunk Contest. Team Giannis won the All-Star game over Team LeBron, 184-175. And Jason Tatum won the MVP when he scored 55 points. Brittany Grenier resigned with the Phoenix Mercury to returning to the WNBA after her release from a Russian prison in December. John Jones defeated Cyril Gong by rear naked choke in like 38 seconds of the first round and became the heavyweight champion in the UFC. Alexa Grasso beat Valentina Shevchenko by submission, rear naked choke, and ended Shevchenko's 9-fight winning streak and became the first female Mexican UFC champion. Joe Jim Boeheim tenure as Syracuse head coach came to an end after 47 years. He's a member of the Hall of Fame. He was voted in 2005. Patrick Ewing was fired from Georgetown after 6 seasons. He went 75 and 109. He had a 29 game Big East losing streak. Rey Mysterio was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. The Great Muta was inducted also. Stacy Keibler, Tim White, Andy Kaufman were also inducted with him. Scotty Scheffler won the Players Championship. We had March Madness. Fairleigh Dickinson shocked number one Purdue 63 to 58. The WNBA and the W I mean the NBA and the NBA Players Association came to an agreement that a minimum number of games must be played for a player to be eligible for major awards. John Moran entered some kind of counseling program. The league suspended him for 8 games without pay for conduct detrimental to the league. Uh, let me see. Jeff Molina came out as bisexual after intimate videos leaked. He's a UFC fighter, and we have not seen Mr. Molina since he came out with this declaration. The World Baseball Classic was played this year, and Shoni Atoni and Japan won the title over the United States. The Elite Eight will not feature. This is NCAA men's basketball. The Elite Eight won't feature any number one teams for the first time in tournament history. They came out with the new name of the Hall of Fame for the UFC. Donald Cowboy Cerrone, Anderson Silva, Jose Aldo Jr., just Little Evil Palmer make up your 2023 class. Let me see. The NCAA Final Four will have 3 teams making their first appearance: University of Miami, San Diego State, and Florida Atlantic. The women's Final Four was Virginia Tech, South Carolina, LSU, and Iowa. LSU defeated Iowa 102 to 85 for its first NCAA championship in women's basketball. Angel Reese won the most outstanding player in the 2023 NCAA Women's Championship. The men's Final Four: UConn, Miami, Florida Atlantic, and San Diego. UConn won over San Diego State in the national championship game. This is the 5th championship in the school's history. The Hall of Fame class for the NBA was Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki, Paul Gasol, Tony Parker, Becky Hammond, and Greg Popovich. The Sacramento Kings, after 16 years, the longest playoff drought in the NBA ever, actually ended this season. The WWE merged with Endeavor, the parent company of the UFC, with a $21 million company when you put the two companies together. Tiger Woods returned for a while and played a little golf. He made 23 consecutive cuts at the Masters, tying Fred Couples and Gary Player for the most of all time. But then he had to withdraw from the Masters due to re-aggravating his plantar fasciitis. Jon Rahm came from behind and actually won the 2023 Masters. Luis Herrera hit for the cycle, the first Florida or Marlin player in 30 seasons to do so, and the last team in the league to have a player hit for the cycle. Tampa Bay Rays set a franchise record and NLB record with his 13th straight win to open the regular season. Dallas Mavericks was fined for conduct detrimental to the league in an elimination game after sitting most of their productive players against the Chicago Bulls for a better spot in the upcoming draft. You had the Charlotte Hornets forward Miles Bridges suspended for 30 games due to some domestic stuff. Rory McIlroy was fined $3 million for withdrawing from a tournament. Okay, the Houston Rockets hired Ime Udoka as their head coach. Uh, Alabama's Bryce Young, the first ever number one overall pick from out of Alabama football, was drafted by the Carolina Panthers. The MVP of the NBA was Joel Embiid. The Milwaukee Bucks fired Mike Buzenhall. 7 horses died at Churchill Down leading up to the main event of the Kentucky Derby, which wound up being won by Mage. This was the 149th running. The Washington Commanders had a record sale in the Snyder family with the Harris Group, uh, and they brought the team for $6 million. So Daniel Snyder is no longer owner in the NBA. The Suns fired coach Monty Williams after his team was eliminated from the playoffs. The Renegades, led by quarterback Luis Perez, beat the heavily favored DC Defenders 35-26 for the XFL title. The San Antonio Spurs won the number one overall pick and drafted Victor Wembanyama. Ja Morant was suspended from all team activities due to a social media post where he was flashing a gun. The 76ers fired head coach Doc Rivers. Brooks Koepka actually won the 2023 PGA Championship, which was his 5th majors. Carmelo Anthony officially retired from the NBA after 19 seasons. The Philadelphia 76ers hired Nick Nurse as their new head coach. The Detroit Pistons then hired Monty Williams as their new head coach. The Suns hired Frank Vogel as their new head coach. The PGA Live and DP Golf all merged, which is convoluted. I don't understand what was going on then. I don't understand what's going on now. It's very hard to tell. It seemed like there's lawsuits. People are still going over to Live. So this is an ongoing story. The Women's World College Series, Oklahoma, 53-0, clinched their 3rd straight national title with a 3-1 win over Florida State. These women have not lost a game in over 3 years. Amanda Nunes announced that she was retiring after she defended her bantamweight title. The Las Vegas Golden Knights won the 2023 Stanley Cup Championship. The Denver Nuggets won their first ever title and defeated the Miami Heat 4-1. Nikola Jokic was the final MVP. Ja Morant wound up getting suspended for 25 games to start the new season. Bob Haskins resigned at West Virginia. He stepped down in the wake of a DUI arrest. Wyndham Clark won the U.S. Open. Lou Williams, three-time Six Man of the Year and all-time leading scorer off the bench, announced that he was retiring after 17 years. The Celtics acquired Krista Porzingis and dealt Marcus Smart to the Grizzlies in a three-team trade. What do you say? Chris Paul and Bradley Beal became Phoenix Suns. And like I stated earlier, the Spurs did draft Victor Wembanyama with the number one overall pick. LSU football vacated all of its wins from 2012 to 2015, and Les Miles now became ineligible for the College Football Hall of Fame because those 37 wins would have put him over the top of uh, a mark that he would have had to met. And it also included two bowl games because a former player was ineligible throughout his entire college career. LSU beat Florida to win the Men's World Series National Championship. Uh, Domingo Germán threw the 24th perfect game in Major League history. He's a Yankee pitcher. You had Jason Foley and Alex Lang. They combined for a no-hit, two-zip win over the Blue Jays. The sale of the Commanders was approved, led by the group with Josh Harris and Magic Johnson for $6.5 billion. Michael Jordan officially sold the Carolina Charlotte Hornets for $3 million. Jaylen Brown signed a 5-year, $304 million Supermax deal. Ronnie James suffered cardiac arrest at USC basketball practice. Spain beat England to win the Women's World Cup. Aaron Judge became Major League Baseball's fastest player to hit 250 home runs. Coco Gauff, who's now 19, won her first Grand Slam title after she won the U.S. Open single title in 3 sets against Ariana Sabalenka from Belarus. 14 black quarterbacks started in week 1 of the NFL. Novak Djokovic won the U.S. title for the 4th time. Aaron Rodgers suffered, quote unquote, a complete tear of his Achilles tendon in the 4th snap of the first game of the season and missed the rest of the year. The WWE had a bunch of releases. They got rid of the Maximum Male models, Mace and Mansoor, Dolph Ziggler, Dana Brooks, Madcap Roddick, uh, Dabba-Kato, Shelton Benjamin, Shanky, Mustafa Ali, Aaliyah Rick, Top Dollar, Matt Riddles, Emma. But the show went on. Matter of fact, Friday Night SmackDown is moving from Fox to USA Network next year. Ronald Acuna Jr. became the 5th player in NLB history to join the 40-40 club, and actually he reached the 40-60 club. He's the only member of that club. Patrick Mahomes became the fastest quarterback to reach 25,000 yards passing. Mel Tucker, the Michigan State coach, was removed amid sexual harassment allegations. Look him up yourself, please, because it's kind of insane the amount of money that this man lost. And once again, his name is Mel Tucker from the University of Michigan State. Damon Lillard left Portland. He is now a Milwaukee Buck. Jrue Holiday is now a Boston Celtic. Jade Cargill signed a multi-year deal with the WWE. Edge, Adam Copeland, joined AEW. Patrick Mahomes became the youngest quarterback ever to beat all the other 31 teams in the league. The Las Vegas Aces became the third team to win back to back titles when they beat the New York Liberties 3 games to 1. Uh, and Aja Wilson is your MVP of the WNBA Finals. Jose Altuve broke the record for home runs in the ACLS. Adonis Garcia from the Texas Rangers was the ACLS MVP. Cattell Martell was the Arizona Diamondbacks NCLS MVP. Your World Series was the Arizona Diamondback versus Texas Rangers. Bill Belichick reached 300 wins for his career. Dusty Baker retired after 26 seasons as a major league manager and 19 seasons in the big leagues as a player. The 76ers traded James Harden to the Clippers. The Texas Rangers won the World Series, beating the Diamondbacks 4 games to 1. It's Texas's first title. Texas went 11-0 on the road during the playoffs. Corey Seager became the first player to win the MVP in the World Series, and he's now done it in both leagues. CJ Stroud had 5 touchdowns and a rookie 470 yards and no interceptions and beat the Colts. Jim Harbaugh was suspended for 3 games, alleged sign stealing. CD Lamb made history by being the first player with 10 catches, while also finishing with at least 150 receiving yards in 3 straight games. The NL Manager of the Year in baseball was Skip Schumacher of the Marlins. The AL winner was Brandon Hyde of the Orioles. Rookie of the Year in the American National League went to Corbin Carroll. The Rookie of the Year in the American League was Gunnar Henderson of the Orioles. The Cy Young was won by Jared Cole of the Yankees. And the National League was Blake Snell. Deshaun Watson needed surgery and missed the whole regular season. Shohei Ohtani won the American League Most Valuable Player Award. Ronald O'Connor Jr. is the National League Most Valuable Player. Draymond Green was suspended 5 games by the NBA. Oakland A's decided and got approval that they will relocate to Las Vegas. LeBron James became the first player in NBA history to reach 39,000 points and counting. Duran Bland from the Dallas Cowboys broke the NFL single season record with 6 pick six. No, I'm sorry. He had 5 pick six in 11 games. Jim Leyland is going to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Ronnie James actually recovered enough to make his debut with USC. He scored 4 points. He had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block in 16 minutes in a loss to LBC. John Ram left the PGA and took $570 million to join LIV. LIV Golf now has 7 of the 14 last major winners. There was a thing called the NBA in-season tournament, which the Los Angeles Lakers won to become the very first champion. LeBron James was your MVP in this tournament. LSU senior quarterback Jaden Daniels won the Heisman Trophy Award. Shohei Ohtani signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers for a record $700 million. Draymond Green was suspended again, this time for putting Yusuf Nurkic in a headlock, or what you would call a rear naked choke, and he's suspended indefinitely. The Chargers fired their head coach Brandon Staley and their GM Tom Telesco. The Pistons lost to the Nets for their 26th straight loss. Then they lost to the Nets again for their 27th straight loss. And then they finally lost to the Boston Celtics to tie the record for the longest all time losing streak at 28 games. But then they snapped that record by beating the Toronto Raptors 129 to 127. So Detroit Pistons now have tied the record, but not have broken the record. If I said that, I made a mistake. Caitlin Clark made history as she became the first athlete, male or female, to have 3,000 plus points, 900 plus assists, 800 plus rebounds, and an NBA, I mean, in a college career. 3,000 points, 900 assists, 800 rebounds in a college career. Uh, I am not going to go through the NFL free agent trade and retirements. Is the list is way too long. Like I said, you can go to my page. Everything will be listed right there. It was a lot of movement in the NFL this year. A lot of people signed for money. A lot of people were moved around. This was one of those bizarre seasons where it seemed like people were going here, people were going there. It was all over the place. And I prefer that you just read it for yourself, the abridged version. Now let's see. Let's do some of these rest in pieces here. Uh, Let me see. We lost Pele, Barbara Walters, Don West, Anita Porter, um, Lisa Marie Presley died. Robbie Knievel passed away. Jeff Beck passed away. Jay Briscoe passed away. We had the Goshen Home Massacre. Gina Lola Oh, Billy Packer, Lanny Poffo. We had, let me see, so many people passed away in 20. Jerry Springer, Gordon Lightfoot, Bushwhacker Butch passed away. I lost my uncle this year. I lost a good buddy this year. Also, Franco. Jimmy Butler passed away. Bray Wyatt passed away. Terry Funk passed away. Bob Barker passed away. There was the Dollar General shootings, the Maui fires. Tina Turner passed away. Superstar Billy Graham passed away. Uh, Jim Brown passed away. The Iron Sheik passed away. Pee Wee Herman's passed away. Exotic Adrian Street passed away. Gaston Glock, you know Gaston Glock, you probably own one of his guns. He passed away. Uh, Sandra Day O'Connor passed away. Marty Kraft, Bobby Knight, Richard Roundtree, Burt Young, Suzanne Summers, Rand Rudolph Isley, Dick Buckus, Russ Francis, Brooks Robinson, Ralph Cephas Jones, Magoo, Alan Arkin, Darren Drozovich, Treat Williams, Harry Belafonte. Let's see. Otis Taylor, Tom Sizemore, Conrad Dobler. I'm sorry if I forget anybody. It's not my idea to do that. I feel horrible. Nikki McCrae passed away. Uh, Let me see who else. Alnod L. Casey passed away. Uh, Andre Bauer passed away. George McGinnis passed away. Ryan O'Neal passed away. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Tim Wakefield passed away. Oh my goodness. Next year, if you want to see the complete list, once again, just go to my site. They will be listed. Raquel Welch passed away. Richard Belzer passed away. Cindy Williams passed away this year. Lance, where's Lance? Oh my goodness. We also had some people who passed away this year, but these are not RIPs. These are just letting you know they died. Diamond, Lynette Diamond Hardaway, she passed away. Jerry Richardson passed away. Robert Blake passed away. Pat Robinson passed away. Bishop Carlton Pearson passed away. Uh, Ted Sosinski passed away this year. Pope Emeritus Benedict. Oh my God, I don't even know that number. Forgive me, he died. Pope Emeritus Benedict passed away. Most popes don't resign. He was one of the ones who resigned, I guess, because he was sick. So instead of dying in office, he stepped down. Gordon, I say Gordon, like Vladimir Blue passed away this year. I want to go through this list because this I feel bad that if I miss it, Tony Bennett passed away this year. There was some shocks. There was a lot of older people, but there was definitely some shocking death. Dick, if I didn't say it, Dick Buck has passed away. Piper Laurie. But like I said, the list is thorough and is there. I appreciate you being with me this year. I appreciate you spending time with me this year. I appreciate the efforts that you took out of your day to listen to this knucklehead that you don't know from a can of paint. And I hope for bigger and better things for Strange Talk with Doc in the upcoming years. Hopefully, maybe you can join me. Maybe you have something that you want to discuss with me, and we can get together and we can have a discussion. We can have a nice sit down conversation. I don't care what it's about. I think that I am well enough versed without being arrogant that I think that I could talk about most things. The show will be going in a different direction this year. I think that I spent a bit of time this year soft soap and hand holding and trying to hug people that don't deserve hugs. Next year, I'm gonna come more for the jugular vein. I'm gonna choke you out with honesty, and I'm gonna choke you out with truth. And I'm still gonna be the same person I am today, but I'm gonna be a little bit more real. Some situations have to be tackled in a manner where it's hard, where it's a slap in the face and not on a pat on the back. And I'm tired of being the guy who always patting other people on the back. It's not about that. It is definitely not about that. To do better, you got to be, sometimes you have to be scolded. Sometimes you have to be corrected. You have to be told as hard terms as you can that you screwed up and it's unacceptable. And this is where we're going to be going in 2024. I hope it's not a turn off to you. And if it is a turn off to you, it maybe it's because you're scared. I'm going to say something that might piss you off. And that's not on me, that's on you. And you know what? I do what I do here. And I'll continue to do what I do here with or without you. And that's not a threat. That's not me coming down on you or saying anything bad about you. But you know what? We can't deal with everything with kid gloves. We have to take the pacifier out of our mouths and learn to be able to eat real food that really builds us up and sets us on the path that we should go. And I appreciate you, and I hope that you enjoyed the 2023 wrap up. I'm sorry about the hemming and the hawing and the yarn and a couple of seconds in between of dead space. But I'm not a professional. I don't get paid to do this. I'm just a regular guy who does the best that he can to make this as enjoyable as he can. And once again, like I said, I appreciate your time, your energy, and your effort. And I'm going to tell you, 2024, I hope you nothing but peace. I hope nothing but peace and joy for you and your family. But you got to do the right thing to make sure that you deserve that and you earn that in any way that you can, that you pay peace forward to others also. And I'll be back on 1/8 with my first show of 2024, where we'll be moving in that positive, right direction. Okay. So I'll speak to you then. Peace and peace to yours.